right, welcome everybody. This is the AI in Education Keynote webinar. This is a kickoff to our back to school series. If you are not familiar with all of the options that we have available this week, we have a whole range of workshops for Formative, for Newsela, getting started, how to build habits, presented by fellow teachers as well. And then we also have a couple of sessions for administrators. So if you still have time this week and want to register for any of those, please do so. But we're excited to kick off today with our beginning session, AI in Education, with a focus on approaches to purposeful adoption. In this session, we're going to cover three main things. First is hopefully gain confidence together in the way that we look at adopting AI to enhance learning and support student growth. We're going to give you an overview of, as we kind of look at the market, we talk to educators such as yourselves, we look at where AI is going, how we've applied that to our own philosophy for AI in our products. And then probably the most exciting part of this is showing you some brand new AI tools in action. You will be the first live audience to see some really exciting new things, some things that aren't even released yet that'll be coming later this week. So we're excited to show that to you at the end of this session. All right, let's go ahead and start with gaining confidence. These are the speakers that we have for you today. As I mentioned, I'm Jason Ediger, your Chief Marketing Officer here at Newsela. I've been here about 3 years. I've been in education and education technology for over 30 years now, which is a crazy thing to say. I started as a classroom teacher in Southern California, down on the Whittier-La Habra area. If we have any SoCal educators here joining us today. Taught 8th grade for 9 years, worked for California Department of Ed for a couple of years through Orange County, Apple, Discovery Education, and now Newsela. So I've been doing education in ed tech quite a long time. We are also joined today by Dan, our co-founder of Newsela. So excited to have him join us. And then our heads of product for Newsela and Formative will both be joining us and giving you some really exciting sneak peeks of some stuff that their teams have been working on. All right, so let's jump on in to talking about building confidence for AI. For those of you who have been in education a while, or education technology a while, this is not your first rodeo. There's been lots of emerging technologies that we've all have experienced, have evaluated. Some have gone through small hype cycles, some have gained adoption. But I was going to share here a couple of quotes. All of these quotes sound like they could be made about AI. They feel very fresh, but they're actually made about a different emerging education technology. Not too distant past. So I'm going to put the quotes up here, and I think we're going to open up the chat there and see if you can guess which technology these quotes are referring to. First is this will allow any person to produce content full of errors and lies. Second, this reduces our art to a machine. And third, this will produce forgetfulness in the minds of readers. All right, so what do you think that this came from? What emerging technology do you believe that these quotes are referring to? It is not AI, even though it definitely sounds like they could be made about AI. Anybody want to put any responses there in the chat or in the Q&A? Books, that's a good one. Pencil, that's great. Internet, definitely. Calculator. Spell check, that's awesome. All right, literature in general, cell phones, oh, that's a good one. Social media, internet, word processors, all right, TVs. All right, we got quite a few guesses that are super close. So these are paraphrases. I had to kind of update them to a little bit modern language. But oh, printing press, there we go. I just saw it come on through. Literally the Gutenberg press. These were all reactions that people had to the Gutenberg press when it came out. So obviously there's been a lot of technology innovation since then, whether it's radio or TV, but also in the last 30, 40, 50 years, the rate of acceleration has definitely increased looking at these technologies. Whether it's starting with the PC, going to web, search, there's a whole bunch of other ones we could have put on here, desktop publishing, digital cameras, Web 2.0. We kind of skipped over the whole COVID remote hybrid learning section here, but we could add that on here as well. But we're going to open up another poll. For those of you here, I just want to get a sense of which emerging technology was the first one that you experienced as an educator. So whether it was your first year teaching and a new technology came out, you're a veteran educator, which of these was the first that you experienced in the classroom? We could open up that poll, please. All right, so which of these technologies were the first one that you experienced in the classroom? All right, mobile and apps. PC, all right, a few PC. And PC is probably a wide range there from 70s to 80s to 90s as it kind of evolved. Laptop, web, and collaboration. A few of you, AI is your first emerging technology as an educator that you might be experiencing. It's good to get that context. I will say that my professional career actually started on the far left-hand side of this. I'll just tell you a quick story. When I was in fourth grade in Omaha, Nebraska, Mrs. Baker was my fourth grade teacher, and she asked me to lead a professional learning workshop as a fourth grader for the upper grade elementary teachers to teach them how to plug an Apple II into a TV and run Oregon Trail. I think that was the beginning of my professional career of helping teachers with education in the classroom, but that was my first journey. And then I started in the classroom in 1994 when the web came out. So have been through this with quite a few of you. It seems like we have a lot of veterans here based on the poll results there. So again, this is, we want to take our learnings from what we've done before and be able to apply that to how we might evaluate the new trends that we see with augmented reality. It's not AR, we're AI today, by the way. The thing that I really want to pull out, though, is also the rate of adoption. What's kind of crazy, this is the from a recent Mary Meeker report. If you're not familiar with Mary Meeker, she does really great kind of larger industry reports on emerging technologies. She has one that just came out recently around about AI. And what this chart is showing is the rate of adoption since point of introduction. And so this blue line here is Google. And so the quantity of Google searches each year in the billions moving from the point of introduction. And this purple line is ChatGPT's rate of adoption. So in 2 years, ChatGPT hit 365 billion annual searches in 2 years, a stat that took Google 11 years to get. All right, and so just as we look at kind of rate of adoption from point of introduction, ChatGPT is definitely off and running. So that's definitely something for us to consider as we think about the embracing of us in this moment. All right, we're also seeing greater momentum of AI in education. This is a recent COSIN report. This was a survey done in the March timeframe, so this might actually have changed even more in the last 3 months. But a year ago, if you look at that blue line, that's where districts were at the beginning of their consideration or adoption of AI. Moving from not yet defined, not sure, depends on the use case, to definitely a shift to the right-hand side. A lot more people embracing it. A lot of people looking at it, depends on the use case. And so being a little bit more methodical and intentional about the use. And we still have about 25% that are not yet defined. So hopefully a lot of the things that we're sharing with you today, some ways of thinking about how to evaluate and consider AI might help you if you still are in that not yet defined column. So hopefully this will be a lot of great value for you as you enter your journey this next back to school. Also, we've seen a lot more states, and obviously on the federal level, providing greater guidance for how AI can be used. This is not to say there's no guidance at all in these other states, but these are kind of the official ones. There's a lot of additional work being done across the remaining states for how to think about AI in education. We've also done a recent survey with teachers in the spring around what they're looking for as a part of that adoption. So the first kind of last couple of slides were at the rate of adoption across districts and states. But when you get down to the teacher level, these are the kinds of things that we're starting to see teachers gravitating for in their use of AI. So whether it's generating lesson plans, quizzes, readings, or kind of the top tasks or like idea generation, leveling text, scaffolding. These are things that teachers are looking for as they are considering bringing AI into their own use. So let's do our own version of the COSIN poll here. So that COSIN poll that we put there earlier was around districts' consideration of AI adoption this next year. Let's get a sense of, from the audience that's here today, where is your district today? Are you banning it? Are you not yet sure how you're going to approach it? Still being defined, kind of a work in progress. Depends on the use case, embracing it. Where is everybody here today as they're looking at next year? All right, still a lot of not sures and not yet defined, kind of sitting a little bit behind, around the same trend as the COSIN report that we saw, and about 60-ish, it looks like, % on, depends on the use case and embracing it. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention at the top, we do have a Q&A available. Primarily, it's more Q than A. So please submit your questions. We're not going to be able to get to all of them today. We'll try to pick maybe a couple of them that we can respond to that we're seeing common themes. What we will do for this, though, is that we will pull them all together. We'll look for some themes, and we will send an FAQ out afterwards as a follow-up. So as we're going through, if there's additional questions that you have or an insight or an idea that you want to share, please submit that through Q&A. We will read all of those, and then we will respond post-event with follow-up with an FAQ. All right. So it looks like most people are on the not sure side to not yet defined. I shouldn't say most people. There's like a little bit of bell curve with more people moving towards depends on the use case and embracing it. All right. Well, the good news is we're all figuring this out together. We're all on this journey. For all of us that have been in education a while, who have gone through kind of different transitions. We are not starting from scratch. There's a lot of really great frameworks over the last 20, 30 years that we have built out as a community, whether these are acceptable use policies, evaluation frameworks. We're looking at new emerging technologies, professional learning, helping teachers think about how technology can come in to support teaching and learning, and digital citizenship curriculum. A lot of these same foundations, as we think about how to teach students, how to evaluate content, how to make decisions, how to appropriately use technology in the classroom, a lot of really sound foundations there that we can all build from. But also we need to be able to apply kind of what AI brings to it that might be new and different from technology. And there's a lot of benefits that we're seeing from AI, whether it's saving time, the ability to synthesize and organize and summarize information, more natural interactions, asking questions instead of just keywords or search terms, kind of hopefully scaling the impact that we can have with our students, more personalization and insights. But we also know that there's things we have to look out for. The number of times that we've said the word hallucinations this last year is probably more than any of us have ever said that in the last 5 or 10 years. Looking for things like bias. Do we yet have a longer term research on the impacts of AI in student learning? The way that we think about the way that students interact with AI and how we do that in a thoughtful and protected way. It's missing the human insights. AI might be able to interact with students, but it doesn't know the student in the way that you know your student. And also looking at the environmental impact as we are scaling up kind of the processing and the computing power necessary to run these engines. So these are all things that we look at and we consider as we evaluate AI in the classroom. We also are getting feedback from teachers. There's a lot of teachers exploring what AI can do for them, saving time, but a lot of times they're still spending extra time evaluating the results. They might get summary or some other kind of output that they didn't have to copy and paste, move over to another system. So it might generate additional work for them. So really looking at that balance of where AI can provide a great role in helping teachers, but also not distracting them and spending too much time from the work that they're trying to do with their students. All right, so as we look at ways that we can help or ways that we can come alongside of you as we consider planning an AI adoption, we are first starting with looking at the categories of AI. These are probably the two biggest ones that we're seeing kind of play out in the market right now. So on the left-hand side is a little bit more enterprise AI, productivity and management. So things around kind of AI at scale for the whole district. And this could be everything from the physical plant to front of house, district offices, services, the way that you deploy AI for all functions within a district or school. So things like Gemini, Magic School might sit over on this left-hand side. Over on the right-hand side is more dedicated curriculum and instruction solutions. So things that you're seeing from Brisk and Diffit and Nearpod and Pear Deck, but Newsela and Formative sit over on this side. So as we think about the role that we can bring by bringing AI into our product, it's very centered in that curriculum instruction side of the house. We've put together a guide that we will send you afterwards. This is not going to be a huge surprise to a lot of you. There's no magic sauce in the guide that we've provided, but we've looked at a lot of the ways that we evaluate technology, things that like ISTE has put out, Digital Promise and others, and kind of synthesize this into these 5 leading questions, and then a series of additional questions that drill down underneath each one of these. So how is this easy to use for teachers and students? Is it going to be something that supports them in the learning process or in the lesson design process? How is this going to support student outcomes? We spend a lot of time measuring impact and efficacy of our products. And we want to make sure that as we apply AI to our products, it's not a distractor from those. How are we providing equitable access to high quality learning and teaching? Is it high quality content? Is it rigorous quiz items? Are there things that we can do to make sure that we're delivering on that high quality instruction? Are there specific pain points that we're solving? It's not just AI for the sake of AI, but there's actually a pain point that's being solved that AIs can help with. And then, of course, being able to protect privacy and handle data responsibly. So those are kind of the 5 big categories. And we will mail out a guide to you afterwards that hopefully this would be a great framework for you as well, or help you in your own consideration. So as we look at the trends in technology and education technology over the years, we look at the ways that we might evaluate the pros and cons of AI, the way that we look at the ways of evaluating AI. We have built kind of our own philosophy for how we approach AI across our product portfolio. This is actually published up on our website, so if you have not yet seen this, this will be included in a link in that evaluation guide that we're going to send out. But we believe that AI tools should be purposeful and not just productive. We believe that teachers are the ultimate curators of the learning experience, and they deserve tools that will amplify that impact. And everything that we do with AI in our products is really sitting behind that. So making sure student outcomes are always a priority. Making sure that we facilitate and support that student-teacher connection. That is where learning takes place at its core. Making sure that we take our history and our experience with education and informing our application of AI, and that we are thoroughly protecting privacy at every point for the user. So if you have not yet seen this, we just announced 2 weeks ago, 2 other things. One is we also wanted to make sure that AI was solving specific problems and addressing feedback that we've heard from you. So on the Newsela side, one of the biggest areas of feedback that we've heard is that we love Newsela's content, but I want to do more with it. I need more support. I need more activities. I need better ideas for how to incorporate this into my lessons or my curriculum. So we've got some great stuff to show you there. And then on the formative side, we've heard that formative has so many great activities, but sometimes I just don't know where to start. And so how can AI help me as a teacher get up and running and using formative in great and meaningful ways? So those are the other kind of filters in addition to our philosophy is the specific pain points that we can solve within our product portfolio as well. So we're bringing that together under Luna. So Luna is our AI. It's our avatar. If you have been with Newsela a while, you've seen the astronaut kind of hanging out around the product for over 10, 15, or almost close to 15 years, I guess we're getting to now. But Luna has been active at work in a new product we released last year called Newsela Writing. A couple of weeks ago, Luna showed up across the Newsela platform writ large, and so Isaac's going to give you a view of that. And then Luna's moving into formative this week. So we got some really exciting things that Luna's going to help support, but that's kind of our unifying brand and way of being able to make sure that we can be very clear and transparent to you where I is at work within our products. All right. So hopefully that was kind of a helpful overview. We look at ourselves within the history of ed tech, the lessons that we've learned from previous evaluation and adoption of emerging technologies, the ways that we're looking at building on that to evaluate AI and our philosophy. Now let's go look at it in action. And we're going to kick off with Dan Cogan-Drew, who's a co-founder of Newsela, has been here since the very first days. And he's been hard at work on a new product called Newsela Writing. And I'm just going to hand it off to Dan and let him give you a demo. Dan, nice shirt, Dan.
Come off mute there.
There we go.
Thanks, Jason. I'd like to share with you a little bit our point of view and some examples of how we've been putting AI to use in Newsela Writing. I'll just start out by framing the problem that we're trying to solve here. Writing has been of great interest to us since we first started Newsela. For anyone who is working with writing in their classroom, they know the power of this to unlock literacy and improve their own understanding as a teacher of your student's voice in a way that really you cannot do in other ways. But one of the primary challenges as a teacher of writing is the sustainability and scalability of the practice that you need to give your students, the number of at-bats that they need, and the timeliness, the precision of the feedback that they require in order to continually iterate and improve on their writing is exhausting to say the least, and it's hard to sustain. So we see a role for generative AI with proper constraints, and we think we can constrain the solution here appropriately and in a way that's transparent we think there's a role for it to play in providing that kind of feedback to students. And we want to stay aligned with the teacher and the expectations that they tell us they have for the students' writing, and try to make this as transparent as possible and as evident to the teacher that we're applying those rules and as evident to the student as possible. So I'm going to show you 3 experiences within Newsela Writing. The first is going to be the creation of an assignment. The second is going to be how students complete that assignment. And then the third will be what the teacher is seeing while students are working. So Newsela Writing is made up of assignments, and you can see a couple of assignments that I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and create an assignment and just sort of walk through that process. So I'm going to make a few choices. These choices are familiar to me as a teacher of writing. The length of the assignment that I'm going to give, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to choose a short answer, which is a single paragraph. The second is what kind of genre. So Newsela Writing and Luna wants to know what kinds of expectations should be placed on the writing. And so I'm going to choose argumentative persuasive because it's a genre that really crosses easily across science and social studies, making a claim, supporting it with evidence, and then explaining the rationale for that evidence. And since, as Jason mentioned, we have a lot of interest in our content, naturally, as Newsela, I'm going to start with a piece of Newsela content, and I'm going to add that here to my assignment. And I'm going to use this as the basis for students to do writing. So I'll continue with that added content. And then finally, Newsela Writing wants to know, what is the question I'm asking my students to contemplate as they're reading this? So I have a question prepared here. Does playing video games cause violence? I can use Newsela Writing and ask Luna to help me with creating prompts, or I can just use this prompt. For time's sake, I'll just go ahead and use that. I happen to be logged in as a teacher in Ohio, and Newsela Writing knows this, so it's going to default to the appropriate rubric for that, for the genre, length, and where I am. But I have choices of other rubrics if I want them. We're going to see some sentences applied, some sentence labels applied here, and this is the terms that are being used, and I'm going to tell Newsela if my classroom, I want to use, instead of background, I want to use detail. That's something that I can show that preference. I can also be more strict or less strict when it comes to the in-text citation. In this case, I'm going to be less strict. We have an exciting new update coming on this front shortly, so stay tuned. So I'll create my assignment from here. I'll get a link to share with my students, but importantly, as a teacher, I can now preview this. And so I'm going to get into the second of the 3 experiences, which is, what does this look like for students when they're doing their writing? So I have the article on the left, I have my writing space on the right, and I've written something, so you don't all have to watch me type. I'm going to paste it in here. And then I'm going to go to this review work tab. And the review work tab is where I'm going to open up my conversation with Luna. And Luna is going to have 2 types of feedback to give me. The first is going to be on the types of sentences that I've written. And the second is going to be on how I'm doing relative to the expectations of the rubric. So I'll start by checking for sentences. The sentences that Luna is checking for are based on the expectations that the teacher, I in this case, have laid out in the assignment. So I'm looking for analysis sentences, thesis sentences, background, and so on. If I have questions as a writer, I can look to see the definition of these, see some examples of these. The goal here is to make me more self-sufficient so I can answer questions that are immediately at hand, and I can continue writing. The more I can write, the more I can respond to feedback, the more I'm going to improve as a writer. And so the second piece of feedback, as I mentioned, is the rubric. And so here, this is the rubric itself manifest inside Newsela Writing. So the terms thesis, organizational structure, if you teach in Ohio, you're familiar with the Ohio State rubric using these terms. And I can ask for feedback against the rubric here as a writer, again, looking for some evidence that I'm making progress against the expectations of the assignment, but I also have some work to go to do. And so each one of these represents an individual criteria. And then here's the most useful point for the student is that as I have a question about any one of these particular meters, let's say elaboration, I can click and I can drill down more deeply and get a set of glows and grows. Here's what's working well, why the dial is where it is, and here's where I can grow and an area that I can use to improve. So that's the student writing experience. And not surprisingly, if I were to add more writing to this, we would see both the meters change, we would see the sentences change, and I'd have an opportunity to see my own progress. So students are using this on demand when they want a question answered, basically, how am I doing against the expectations of this assignment? So that's the second experience. Now, the third experience is on the back end, so to speak. As a teacher, I have a view of my students' writing, and you can see the same terms that I was just seeing as a student. If I'm Benjamin Campbell, I'm seeing that I have a thesis. I'm seeing that I have background. My teacher is seeing the patterns that are developing over the course of the assignment, and students are writing. So it may or may not be surprising to the teacher that not every student in the class yet has evidence, and I might want to drill down and see how that meets my expectations or doesn't. And I can start to see some patterns developing across the rubric scores as well, feedback requests, time spent, and so on. And if I want to drill down to better understand an individual student's writing assignment, I can go in and I can see and I can visit their writing. I can see the feedback that they're getting, for example, the sentence highlights, as well as the rubric feedback, and I can always add comments so that my voice is heard alongside the feedback that they're getting from Newsela Writing. So that's just a brief, quick tour to really understand how this all works. You're going to want to play around with it. You're going to want to create some assignments. You're going to want to see how your students are benefiting from this. So let me wrap there. I know we have a couple of other demos that we want to get to, but hopefully that gives you a sense of the problem we set out to solve and how we're solving it.
That's awesome, Dan. Thank you. For those of you who have not checked out Newsela Writing yet, and if you are not currently a Newsela customer, you can actually get access to a 45-day free trial by signing up for the Newsela's free trial for our subject products. That includes the ability to play around with Newsela Writing. Plus, we could also be happy to do a demo anytime. Hey, Dan, as we're thinking about the use of AI, we were talking about our philosophy of supporting teacher-student interactions, being very mindful of safety and privacy of students. This is a student-facing AI, but it's also not an open chatbot. And so just curious if you could speak a little bit more on why, as you and the team were exploring this, you felt like AI was a good thing to help students with here in their writing process.
Yeah, I think it sort of goes to the points I was making about the rules of the assignment and the teacher telling us what they're expecting. Our reliance on the rubric as our marching orders as how we're telling the AI to give feedback to students. I think the larger principle here is that you want to apply the AI, especially in a student-facing situation, with the proper constraints. So much of AI in our own use as consumers and GPT and other tools is unconstrained. It's somewhat opaque to us. We want to try to bound it and put it in a box, and then we want to try to make sure that the box meets the specifications that the teacher laid out. So the genre, the length, being explicit. And whenever we're referring to the rubric, we do so very explicitly, and that's the common point of understanding that we're reaching between teacher and student.
That makes sense. That's neat. And what would your advice be to a teacher wanting to get started with Newsela Writing? What's the best way to incorporate this into writing practice across the curriculum in their classroom?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably with any new tool. Shrink the change, start slowly, follow the same patterns you would as a teacher of writing. I started with a short assignment, keep it bite-sized, learn with your students. This is no surprise to anyone working with kids. Kids have lots of opinions, and they understand and have great insight into their own experience. Build that into the way you use Newsela Writing. We've learned a great deal from the students and their teachers, and I think you will too. Great, cool. Thank you, Dan.
Just as a reminder, and there went Dan. Hey, just as a reminder, we got Q&A over on the right-hand side. If you can submit questions, we're not going to be able to get to all of them, but I just want to call out a couple of them. There's been a few questions about will there be access to the recording afterwards. So yes, there will be access to the recording for those of you who are asking about this. There was also a question about who can have access to Newsela Writing if you're a formative customer. So just real quickly, Newsela Writing is a paid add-on to Newsela's subject products. So it goes along with Newsela ELA, Newsela Social Studies, Newsela Science. So it's designed to work alongside those products. If you are a formative customer, we do have some really exciting stuff about Luna Informative coming up pretty soon. So, but Newsela Writing is specific to the Newsela side. And I think we don't have time for probably more questions. We should hand off to Ysaac. Dan, anything else you want to say before we hand off? There he went. All right, Ysaac. Isaac's up, and we're back and forth. All right, here we go. Isaac's coming on up. Ysaac is our director of product for Newsela. Hopefully got everybody warmed up for you. But Ysaac, love to have you show everybody kind of what you guys have been up to over on the Newsela side.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. So, hey, everyone, I'm Ysaac. And today I'm going to take you on a little tour of the AI-powered features that we're most excited about. As Jason shared, so we know that Newsela is mostly known for our vetted and curated library of nearly 20,000 resources. And one of the biggest requests that we get, and Jason was calling this out, are for more activities, supports, to make it even easier to incorporate these into resources, into like a lesson or a unit. So over the past year, we've been developing a range of AI-powered teacher supports within Newsela, and we're really excited to bring them all under the umbrella of Luna. We want to make it easier to find those supports, as well as make it really clear and transparent where Luna is working, even if it's just behind the scenes. So to set the stage, one of the most popular use cases for Newsela is building background knowledge. And as we know from the reading rope, it's a critical component of language comprehension. This provides a foundation for understanding new information and making connections to existing knowledge. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through some AI-powered resources that are available on a text that is part of a novel study for The Tempest by Shakespeare. So as you can see in this novel study, we have a lot of resources here. We have videos, we have articles, we have primary sources. But in the spirit of background knowledge, let's go ahead and select this specific article about Shakespeare's global influence, and let's see what kind of AI-powered resources are available from Luna. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. Awesome. So we've selected the article, and as you scroll down, one of the first things that you're going to see is this apply to your lesson box. We have four tabs here. The first one is main idea, and this was actually added based off of teacher feedback to ensure that the text, like the overall text, meets their instructional needs, especially at a glance. Next, we have key terms. These are some tier 3 vocabulary words that are great for pre-teaching, challenging vocabulary. We also have a before reading activity. So these are some questions that are great for activating interest and continuing to build background knowledge. Then, of course, we have discussion questions. So this is great to confirm comprehension after reading, but also can help determine any next steps that might be needed as you're teaching. All right, so moving on from the apply to your lesson box, as you go down into the text, you're going to see some of these terms, like for example, some of these that we saw in the key terms box. And so I'm going to click on one, so translated. And we can see here the term as well as the definition. So students can see this, they can access the term and they can see the definition, but they can also listen to it read aloud to them. This is actually a really commonly requested scaffold from striving readers. So really excited to have this available to them from Luna. As we go on, again, going through the text on this given article, we're going to see the check for understanding question. So these are some great Luna-powered questions that can help the student check to make sure they're comprehending everything as they're going through it, before they actually proceed to the rest of the article. So as we can see, we're actually in like a teacher view, but if I turn on the student view, we can see what this looks like. So the student, they're going to come in, they're going to be reading the article, they're going to encounter the check for understanding question, and everything beyond it is going to be blurred out. It's going to be inaccessible. The way that they reveal that is they just select the answer, hit submit, and from there, the rest of the article is going to be available to them. Until they hit the next check for understanding question. But yeah, so really excited about these tools that are going to be available. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the student view to get back into the teacher view. And I want to take some time to actually go over to the right side of the screen over here, the assignment builder. Scrolling down, you can see we have a lot of different options here. These are a bunch of different scaffolds and tools that are available. And one really popular scaffold that we've used or introduced is guided highlighting. So I'm going to go ahead and click this to activate it. I'm going to hit view, and you can see that we have some AI-powered prompts. So these guys right here. These AI prompts can be used to help students focus on what to annotate, what to look for as they're reading the article. One cool thing about guided highlighting is that as the students are actually looking in the text to highlight that text to respond to the prompt, Luna can actually score this for you. So it'll actually save you some time as well. All right, so getting back to the assignment builder, one other thing that we're really excited about are our AI-powered graphic organizers. So it's down here. I know my face is covering some of that, sorry. But I'm gonna click this and you can see we have a range of different graphic organizers available to you. These are already gonna be pre-populated by Luna to help get you started. But let's choose one of these, like maybe the Freyer model. So especially if you're thinking about building some more word knowledge, you can see that we have a term already inserted here in the center. We have the definition already populated, and we have these other fields that are actually editable. So if you want to add more text, you totally can. But once you have this graphic organizer set, you're happy with it, you can always click this button right here to download it as a PDF. So you can print it or otherwise distribute it to your students. So I do want to say that we're really excited about these graphic organizers. The feedback from teachers about these has honestly been incredible. So we're really excited for everyone to have access to these for back to school. We are looking to add more graphic organizers, excuse me, in the fall. And we're going to continue to add more features and functionality to Luna as we proceed. So speaking of feedback, one other thing that I want to highlight is in paragraph translations. This was a super highly requested feature. So it's right here. If you click this button, you're going to go down into the text and you're going to see each of these paragraphs has this button here. You can go ahead and click that and you can see the translation appear. So you'll be able to select one from over 40 different languages that we have available. And to be clear, a lot of time and research went into this to ensure that we had the most accurate and best translations possible. So we're really proud of that. And I will also call out that this kind of feature, I think someone actually asked something about this in the Q&A. So I think this can also give you some context there. But translations, this is going to be really helpful for those districts that are adopting a translanguaging approach. So this is where the school values students bringing all the languages they speak to contribute to their learning, so that the native language isn't a barrier to them building that background knowledge. All right, so we've run through a ton of stuff really quickly. One more thing I just want to highlight is control. So like we saw over here in the assignment builder over here on the right side, we have these checkboxes. And you can always uncheck them to give access or grant access. But as you're looking to actually assign this type of content to your students, and you go into the assignment flow, you can come down here and you can also see additional checkboxes to either enable or disable these AI features. Ultimately, we want to put the control back in your hands as a teacher, so you can always make that decision on which AI-powered scaffolds are going to be available to your students as a part of the assignment that you're giving them. Okay, so all that being said, I do have one more thing, and this is a sneak peek of a feature that is being released this Thursday. So as I mentioned before, Newsela has a really great catalog of like 20,000 high quality vetted articles that are already leveled for you. But like, we get it. You're surfing the open web, you find something really cool, and you're thinking, I would love to share this with my students, but I wish that it were at different levels to make it more accessible for them. Well, now we got you. I'm really excited to announce and showcase our new text leveler. So where are you going to find it? I'm going to move over to the homepage. So those of y'all who've logged into Newsela, you're going to see that this is the homepage, and you're going to see upon launch this guy right up here. You can go ahead and click level your own text. This is going to take you to the actual text leveler. Okay, so how does this work? As you can see, basically, you're just going to be pasting in the article or the text that you found out in the open web, paste it in here. And I actually have a snippet of an article that I found just to kind of show how this works. It is about Romeo and Juliet, but a modern stage adaptation to show that Shakespeare is like still influential to this day. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this in, and you can see that immediately you're going to see the text level of the text that I just pasted in. So this is a 12th grade level text, and here you can go ahead and choose the level that you want to go to. So maybe the 7th grade, or maybe you want to choose multiple. Maybe you want to choose 5th as well. So those are, you just go ahead and choose which grade levels you want to level to. Go ahead and hit generate levels, and it'll get started. So as it's going, eventually you're going to pop up and you're going to land on the actual level text. So you can see here that we have the 7th grade, we have the 5th grade. This is the text that Luna generated for us. But if you want to compare it to the original text, you can totally do that. Just hit this toggle right here. You can see the source text as well as the generated text. Now you're looking at this, maybe you're thinking like, hey, that's great, very cool, but I want to add some more stuff to it. Maybe I want to edit it. That is totally fine. So I'm thinking maybe you want to add the title, maybe you want to add the source URL. You can go ahead and hit edit text right here. And I'm just going to paste this in so we can see the source URL. And maybe you want to format this as well. So I'm going to format that. This is looking pretty good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit done editing. From here, you can copy it to the clipboard, or you can go ahead and print that. It'll export it as a PDF for you so you can distribute to your students. So really excited about this. We're really excited to get the text leveler as well as all of our other tools that I was mentioning before, like translations, the AI-powered graphic organizers from Luna into your hands for back to school. We have a lot more in the works, so stay tuned. We're just getting started. Oh, one more thing I should talk about with us getting started is we're getting started here with Luna. We want to make sure that we're being very deliberate, purposeful, and research-backed. We want to make sure that we are supporting teachers as they are designing these lessons for their students. And so we just think it's really important that the choice lies with the teacher in how they incorporate all this AI stuff into their curriculum. But with that, I will go ahead and hand it back to Jason.
All right, I think we're having a few little technical difficulties, so we're going to jump into the formative side. Awesome. Thanks, Ysaac. Thank you so much. It's super exciting to see everything you presented, especially that sneak peek at the very end. Personally, I would leave this session very pumped to go start leveling every article I could possibly find. So looked great, Ysaac. Thanks for sharing. And yeah, let's jump into formative now. So hey, everybody, I'm Carlo. I'm the director of product for Formative. And I know there's some folks who know Formative here on the call, but for those who don't, Formative is an all-in-one platform that allows you to create and distribute interactive, tech-enhanced activities. Whether you're digitizing a PDF, importing a lesson, collaborating with your PLCs on common assessments, we put the technology at your fingertips to create the content you need, from bell ringers to benchmarks. So all this in a platform that shows student work, progress, and results in real time while giving them feedback along the way. Now, over the past year or two, we've built a host of AI tools to better support our teachers, whether it's passage or item creation, hint generation, answer choice explanations. Those are student-facing distractor rationales, practice sets, which are kind of like flashcards, or feedback generation for students. We've really weaved AI into Formative in a way that puts you, the teacher, at the forefront. But one of the biggest things we've heard is that Formative does so much that teachers really want a way to create and hone activities from start to finish, and sort of a more curated or guided experience of that, which brings us to today. And man, I feel like I've heard people say we are so excited so many times, but I am legitimately so excited and pumped about bringing Luna to Formative in an all new chat experience for our teachers. In addition already to the existing AI functionality. So let's jump right in and see what Luna can do in Formative. Here I am on my Formative dashboard on my home page, and I'm going to click create. And for my activity type here, I'm going to choose a Formative itself. And just like all of y'all who use Formative know, or maybe as you heard me reference, I can, create my own questions. If I want to create fill in the blank tables, I can. If I want to queue students for audio responses, I can. These 20 plus question types, I can do that. If I want to upload my own content and sort of digitize that old PDF, I can do that. If I want to search an item bank or a library, I can do that. If I want to import from Google Drive, I can do that. All of those options are there. But what is new is this little option up here, which is Luna. So I'm going to click on Luna, and I get this really nice message saying, welcome to Formative. I'm your AI assistant. What's your main goal today? And to get us started in this demo, I'm going to just do something that I think is applicable to all of us as back to school starts, which is students are walking into my classroom, and I want to get to know my students a little bit better. So I'll just say, hey, it's the start of the school year. And I just want like 7 questions survey style to ask my kiddos to get to know them better, mostly open-ended questions. And then Luna's going to go to work behind the scenes and is going to ask me some clarifying questions, because Luna really wants to help me to get to the content that I want. So Luna says, are you looking for a focus on their interests, learning preferences, or both? That's a really great question. Let's just say interests for now. And do you want to include any questions about their previous science knowledge or experiences? Thank you, Luna. Luna knows I'm a science teacher because I have science set in my profile, and I'm a middle school science teacher. So I'll say interests for now. And then I will also say previous science knowledge for the second one. And Luna's going to get to work behind the scenes and just say, here's a draft survey for you for getting started. And the science edition, you're kind of seeing all the work behind the scenes. There's a nice little header image. And here's the 7 questions that Luna came up with for me. What's your favorite science subject or topic? Why do you like it? If you could be a scientist in any field, which would it be and why? Do you have a favorite book, show, or video game related to science? Tell me about it. And for this example, I'm just going to say, these look great. Let's add them. And Luna's going to go to work again behind the scenes and start building out this Formative for me. So what you'll start to see over here on the side is the Formative change. You'll start to see actual questions populating into this assessment, and Luna is just placing these onto this particular Formative for me at this moment. So, and there we go. And just like that, I can assign from here if I want, and we'll jump into another example, and I will create a more academic example, because I think the icebreaker example is nice and applicable to all of us, but let's shift to something a little bit more academic. And in this example, I'm going to pretend like I'm about to teach a unit, and I wanted to know what previous knowledge my students have. So I'll say I'm about to start a unit on this particular standard. Will you make me a quiz to help me understand what my students might struggle with the most? I'll send that over to Luna. And again, Luna's asking me clarifying questions along the right way, right? Not just throwing content out at me. So Luna said, what specific concepts within forces and interactions do you plan to focus on? For example, gravity, friction, balanced and unbalanced forces. And I'll say, good question. We'll say balanced and unbalanced forces. And then have you observed any particular challenges your students have faced with these topics in the past? Great question, because I'm asking Luna to help me understand what my students might struggle with as I move into this unit. In this example, I'm just going to say nothing specific for that. And Luna's going to get to work building out a draft for me. Got it. We'll focus on balanced and unbalanced forces. Let's create a quiz that covers definitions, key examples, effects of balanced and unbalanced forces, real world applications. Are you ready for me to add these to the Formative? And I'm going to say, sounds good. Let's do it. And Luna's going to get to work again behind the scenes for me, creating this draft and adding these things to my Formative for me. So updating the title right now, and then we'll start adding those questions for me as I go, updating the description of the assessment, updating the header image. So we get like a nice image coming into the header. There you go. You see the header image came in, and now you can kind of see these questions start to populate on the side. And as these are generating, I might say something like, I'll let these generate real quick while Luna is working on these. I'll say, these look great. Can you also give me 5 advanced or tech enhanced, I'll say tech enhanced questions, like resequence. It's hard to type in front of a crowd of people. Hopefully y'all can sympathize. Like resequence, categorize, and matching. So we'll kind of keep this conversation going with Luna. And there you go. Luna says, let's create some tech enhanced questions for you now. And is giving me like a nice little preview of this. So put the steps of conducting a force experiment in the correct order. Now, just to add some levity to this webinar as we come to the end here, I can say something like, that's great. Can we add a dinosaur theme? So I won't do this right now, but I will do it right now, but you can do any of these things if you want. You can kind of theme it how you might want to make it more applicable to your students. And again, all of this in one platform that will allow you to assign things to your students. In this case, I have my family as a class, and I can do all those wonderful things that Formative can do. Give instant feedback, display questions in random order. I could enable learning tools and turn on translation so that if I have different language speakers in my classroom, they're all getting a version for themselves in the language that they particularly need. And I'm not kind of bouncing between applications. And then for those of you who aren't familiar with Formative, all the results in real time coming into the platform and giving me that standards-based item analysis view that I have, whether it's for a bell ringer or whether it's for that district benchmark assessment that is standards aligned where I'm working with my PLC groups, I get that information as well. Cool. And with that, I'll kick it over to Jason because I know we're kind of time crunched. I think we only have a couple minutes here. Jason, sorry about that if I went over.
No worries at all. I think we were aiming for 50 minutes and we're supposed to be at 45 minutes. We're definitely over a little bit. There's lots of questions in the chat around when Luna is available. Luna is going to be live in Formative this Thursday. So you got a sneak peek here from Carlo. It is super fun to play with. If we had a little bit more time, the ability to look at gravity and friction with dinosaurs as a theme for every single question is legitimately funny, but also really, really solid. And it'd be a really great way to engage students and get them thinking about the scientific concepts in that particular case. Super excited about Luna Informative. Somebody asked earlier if Luna is a part of the subscription for any of our products or if it's a paid add-on. What you saw today comes with each one of those products. And so Newsela Writing or Newsela Subject products, Formative, Luna is a part of each one of those products in the way that you saw demonstrated today. I think the thing with that we just saw with Carlo, the ability to literally just use natural language to create assessment types, back to school, get to know yous, bell ringers, exit tickets, and just be able to send those off to the same platform is just super fun and phenomenal. So I want to thank everybody for joining. We got a lot of questions in. We were not able to respond to all of them, obviously, but we'll definitely compile those and come back to either you directly if there was a question that we can help you with specifically, or with an FAQ that we will kind of summarize as we look at common themes. We have more webinars later this week. One of them starts in 5 minutes. So if you're set up for that one, that'll be starting in just a little bit. If you want to connect with our team, here's a QR code that you can grab right there. It'll also be included in the email along with the free guide. So again, thank you for joining us today. Sorry again for the time crunch there at the end, but we're super excited to get all of these updates out and available to you. The new text leveler in Newsela and Luna Informative, the ability to create with Formative, go live on Thursday. So again, thank you everybody, and hope that your back to school preparations, AI or not, goes well as you welcome all the kiddos back in to your schools and districts. Have a great rest of your summer.